Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting stuck into a pretty interesting Premier League match.
Oh, yeah. Which one?
Crystal Palace versus Nottingham Forest from Monday, May 5th.
Ah, right. The 1-1 draw at Selhurst Park.
Exactly. We're working off the Sky Sports match report and their highlights for this one.
Gotcha. Yeah, Selhurst Park, attendance just over 25,000. So, Palace took the lead.
They did, yeah. Eberechi Eze scored a penalty about 60 minutes in.
But Forest hit back pretty quick, didn't they? Murillo, was it?
Yep, Murillo just 4 minutes later. So 1-1 the final score.
In this draw, it's pretty significant, particularly for Forest.
Huge implications. They're chasing that Champions League spot. It's incredibly tight.
Right. While Palace, they're kind of looking ahead to the FA Cup final, aren't they? Different priorities, I suppose.
Totally different pressures. Okay, so let's dig into that Champions League race context first. Where does this leave Forest now?
Well, they're sitting 2 points outside the top 5, and crucially, only 3 games left to play.
Oof, cutting it fine. And their recent form isn't exactly setting the world alight, is it?
No, it really isn't. Sky Sports mentioned they've only picked up 4 points from their last 5 league games.
4 from 5, wow.
Yeah, and they use the phrase something like their stunning season might be fizzling out a bit.
That's quite a statement.
Yeah.
And it's such a contrast to where they were, like, just a month ago.
Exactly. Remember back at the start of April after they beat Man United?
Yeah.
They were sitting third, 10 points clear of 6th place. It's been a bit of a drop-off.
A significant drop. So this draw feels like more lost ground, really. Another missed opportunity.
You'd have to say so, yeah. Especially when points are this precious. What do you reckon is behind this dip? Just the pressure getting to them?
It could be. I mean, the pressure at this stage is immense, isn't it? But you mentioned something earlier, maybe tactics.
Well, yeah, looking at it, they seem to have tweaked their formation a bit recently. And maybe, just maybe, it's affected that defensive stability they had earlier on.
Interesting. Because Palace did seem to create chances late on in this game.
They did. Which wasn't happening quite as much when Forest were flying high back in, say, March or early April. Makes you wonder, you know.
Yeah, tinkering with things at the wrong time, perhaps.
Okay, let's talk about the game's key moments. That Palace penalty.
Right, Eze scored it. Came from a VAR review, didn't it?
Yeah, the challenge by Dominguez on Tarek Mitchell. Ref waved play on initially.
But VAR stepped in. And looking at the replays, there definitely seemed to be contact. You can argue about these forever, but...
True. But the ref looked at the monitor and pointed to the spot. Fair enough, I suppose.
What impressed me, though, was Forrest's reaction. They didn't let their heads drop.
Not at all. Just 4 minutes later, bang. Murillo. Sky called it a deft flick.
Yeah, from a pulled shot by Neco Williams. Good awareness, quick thinking, important goal.
Showed some character, definitely, to bounce back like that.
It did. But... and there's always a but, isn't there? Palace really pushed hard towards the end. They did, yeah. They looked at the more likely winners late on as they hit the bar.
And Nketiah, the substitute, had a decent chance too, didn't he?
He did. It kind of felt like Palace finished stronger. What do you think that was?
Well, maybe injuries played a part. Murillo, the goal scorer for Forest.
Yeah, he had to go off, didn't he? Hamstring.
Looks like it. And the report said Forest kind of lost their way after that. They really limped over the finish line, apparently.
Losing a key defender like that, especially someone who just scored, yeah, that's bound to unsettle things.
Absolutely. He's not just a defender, he's an organizer back there. His absence would definitely be felt.
And Palace had their own injury issue too, right? Adam Wharton?
Yeah, he came off not long after Palace scored their goal. That's a potential headache for them.
Especially with that FA Cup final against City coming up. That's not ideal timing.
Not at all. You really don't want your key midfielders picking up knocks before a game like that. How big a miss would he be against City, do you think?
Oh, potentially huge. He's been really important for them. Linking play, getting them moving forward. Losing him might force a change in how they approach that final, tactically.
Yeah, could impact their ability to keep the ball, maybe. Against a team like City, that's crucial.
Definitely. Let's quickly mention player performances. Eze got player of the match, rating of 9.
Can't argue with that. Scored the penalty, hit the woodwork, looked dangerous all game.
He really did seem central to everything Palace did well going forward.
Yeah, and a few others got good ratings too. Henderson and LaCroix for Palace, Salz and Anderson for Forest, all got an 8.
So solid performances across the board, really. Interesting both keepers got an 8. Suggests they were kept busy.
Must have been. Some decent saves at both ends, probably. Okay, what did the managers make of it all? Nuno for Forest.
Right. Nuno Espirito Santo. He felt his team reacted well, both from maybe a poor previous game and from going behind to the penalty here.
So he saw positives in the response. That's important for morale, I guess.
Yeah. And he also mentioned they were in control in the first half, creating chances, dominating.
Interesting perspective. Because it didn't quite feel like that for the full 90, did it? Especially later on.
No, and he acknowledged that. Said the second half was different, that Palace's attackers caused them problems.
Which fits with what we saw, Eze hitting the bar and all that.
Right. But Nuno still reckons the Champions League race will go all the way. Staying optimistic, publicly at least.
You have to, don't you? Got to keep the belief going. What about from the Palace side? Eze spoke, right?
He did. Said he thought his shot that hit the bar was actually going in.
Close. Shows their intent, though. They weren't settling for the draw either.
No. He mentioned they had quite a few chances and felt they showed good character, especially after the FA Cup semifinal. Building resilience, maybe?
Yeah, bouncing back mentally. He also gave a little insight into his penalty technique.
Oh.
Said he practices a lot, but also tries to adapt based on the keeper. Said he felt he needed a bit more power on this one specifically.
Interesting. Shows the thought process involved, even in those high-pressure moments.
Definitely. Okay, so looking ahead for Forest, what's next? Crucial few games.
Very crucial. They've got Leicester at home next, and Leicester already down.
Right, live on Sky Sports, too.
And
That feels like a game they absolutely have to win. No excuses, really.
you'd think so. And the timing could be good for them, too, because...
Yeah. Chelsea and Newcastle play each other on the same day.
Exactly. So one or both of their rivals will drop points. It's a huge opportunity for Forest to gain ground if they handle their business against Leicester.
Massive chance. After Leicester, who have they got?
They face West Ham, who the report calls struggling. And then the final game, Chelsea away.
Wow. That could genuinely be, as the report says, a one-off decider for a Champions League spot. Imagine the drama.
Potential for incredible final day tension.
Yeah.
But we keep coming back to this.
Their form, yeah.
Yeah.
Despite beating Spurs not long ago, that run of 4 points from 5 games is, well, it's worrying. Can they suddenly flip the switch?
That's the big question, isn't it? Is the pressure just becoming too much? They've punched above their weight for so long.
Maybe maintaining that level with everyone watching, expectations rising. Maybe it's just proving tough in these final weeks.
Could be. But the crucial thing, and Sky Sports made sure to point this out, Forest still control their own destiny.
That's the key takeaway, isn't it? Win their games and they're probably in. Simple as that. On paper, at least.
On paper, yeah. Easier said than done right now, perhaps. What about Palace? Anything else noteworthy from their side?
Well, it was mentioned they were unchanged from the team that won the FA Cup semi against Villa.
Shows faith in that lineup. Consistency.
It does. But the report also floated the idea that maybe the cup run, the whole Wembley thing, might be having a bit of an effect.
Like a hangover, they called it, even though they won the semi.
Yeah, apparently they lost a couple of league games just before that semifinal. It's tough juggling priorities, isn't it? League points versus going for a major trophy.
It really is. The emotional energy, the focus. It can be hard to maintain peak performance in both when a huge final is on the horizon.
Definitely. Oh, and just a final note. The report mentioned there's a story of the match and stats section available, though they didn't dive into those specific numbers here.
Right. Things like possession, shots, XG, that kind of detail could paint an even clearer picture.
Could do. So, summing up then. It was a draw, 1-1. Felt hard-fought.
Definitely. But the implications feel bigger than just 1 point share, don't they? Huge for Forest's Champions League chase.
Made it harder for them, for sure.
Yeah.
And now Palace have that Wharton injury worry hanging over them before the cup final.
Feels like Forest are really at a critical point. They need to find that winning touch again. Fast.
They do. Their destiny is in their hands, yes, but their recent performances don't exactly inspire massive confidence right now. They need a big reaction.
While Palace, they're trying to manage this final league stretch alongside, preparing for probably the biggest game in their recent history.
Two clubs in very different but equally high-stakes situations as the season winds down.
Which leaves us with a thought for you listening. With everything so tight, the Champions League race, the FA Cup final prep.
Yeah.
How much does one draw really change things at this point?
Yeah, beyond the points on the board, think about the psychology. Does a result like this dent Forest's belief? Does it maybe ease a bit of pressure off Palace in the league, allowing more focus on the cup?
What are those hidden mental and physical tolls of these late-season battles? It's fascinating stuff, much more than just the 90 minutes we see.